Welcome to Thinking is Contagious, Monday, 30th of November, and the beat goes on. The beat goes on. I don't know if you guys saw it, but it was reported that the FBI has requested from Matt Braynard, and Braynard was a former Trump campaign strategist, but they've requested the voter fraud data that the Trump campaign has gathered has been requested by the FBI, which means there is an FBI investigation ongoing. Normally you would think that would be good, but the FBI over the last 10 years has proven to be anything but good at the upper echelon levels. We're not talking about field agents and things like that, but the leadership of the FBI has been absolutely, totally corrupt, has been agenda driven, and has had the narrative of destroying conservatism and implementing the global agenda. So let's see where this goes, but there's something there. The Democrats can say all they want. There's something there. Georgia, I don't know if you saw, but Judge Batten, Timothy Batten in Georgia, demanded that machines in 3 districts not be touched. They be frozen. They not be allowed to be reset, which was the intent. Why would they want to reset them so quickly? But court order has prevented them from being reset, and they're going to be looked into, those machines. Rudy Giuliani, in his hearings today, brought forth Army Colonel Phil Waldron, and he went into great detail, and he's a counterintelligence and agent for the United States Army. His job is to look at the machinery that Dominion is inclusive of, and his quote on Dominion and Dominion hardware was, "The system is built to be manipulated." That's the intent of the system, is to be manipulated. And while Dominion is claiming they have no connection with Venezuela, well, Dominion is a conglomerate and a buyout of many other companies, and among them is Smartmatic. And Smartmatic was founded, one of the founders was Hugo Chavez. Did you hear that? Smartmatic, one of the founders, Hugo Chavez. 28% owner, funded. And those were machines that were used for elections in Venezuela and in Chile and Honduras, and to ascertain and go in and have the results, assure themselves of the results they want using this hardware and software through Dominion. The interesting part is that in the admiral's, the colonel's, testimony, he said that his job is to exactly find ways to manipulate these things, and that it was very evident and very apparent why these machines exist. And what brought them, they've been investigating this since August, but he said what really triggered the initial looking into this system, they go back as far as the Beto O'Rourke Ted Cruz election in Texas, where they said that the same systems were used and that the votes were manipulated with the intent of helping Beto O'Rourke win. So it's pretty apparent what happened in Texas, a state that no one would have ever thought Cruz would have had any type of challenge. And Cruz won. He won tight, a very tight race, and it was probably a Cruz landslide. But they almost created a legend in Beto O'Rourke with this machinery. Bottom line, people, I have been, like you have seen, on the fence on this, waiting for data, waiting for proof. And I will tell you this, there is something wrong here. There is manipulation and there is fraud. And by the way, I don't know if you saw the latest poll that came out of Biden voters, and the tally was 17%. 17% of people who were polled, who voted for Joe Biden on election day, said that had they known about Hunter Biden, about the Biden corruption stories, about Tara Reade, about Trump's campaign to obtain a vaccine in warp speed, had they known this information, 17% of the people said they would have voted for Donald Trump. 17% of the people who voted for Joe Biden said they would have voted for Donald Trump. And then they say that there was no voter manipulation. Well, there was voter fraud and there was also voter manipulation by the media, who kept all these stories out of the mainstream. 17% of the people said they wouldn't have voted for Joe Biden had they known these things. That's a Trump landslide. People, we have a problem. Liberals are lying to you. The left is lying to you. The Democrats are lying to you. Why this rush to certify these votes? In 2016, they were verified on the last possible day, on December 14th. Why this rush? Why this rush to reset voting machines? Why this data, irrefutable existing data, which shows huge, hundreds of thousands of voter dumps for Joe Biden, with virtually nothing for Donald Trump? There is fraud. There was fraud in this election. Donald Trump won this election. You look at the results of the House and the Senate, where there was supposed to be this blue wave, and you look at the results, and it's clear how people voted. Donald Trump won this election. People, the United States, the democracy of this country, our democracy, our reputation throughout the world, our futures, our livelihoods, our freedoms and our liberties have been acceptable collateral damage for the left. They have defrauded us. They are criminals. Chief among them, the Clintons, the Obamas, and the Bidens. Criminals. There is no doubt in my mind at this point that this election was fraudulent. Are we going to be able to do something about it? I think the system, the swamp, the system itself is too powerful. They have run into a formidable adversary in Donald Trump, who refuses to be defeated, and Rudy Giuliani, who I am rapidly eating my words about. He is relentless. I don't think he gives the best impression or representation. I think he carries a lot of baggage. He's been saddled with much baggage, and his personality does not allow him to lose that baggage. His demeanor, his comportment, his way of expressing himself, and unfortunately his appearance makes it very difficult for him to shed that baggage. If Rudy Giuliani was a more well-spoken, if he was a little more pleasing to the camera, if he was able to appeal a little more to a mainstream, the cross-stream audience, we would be seeing a different representation. However, when you cut through all of this and you listen to the testimony and you listen to the facts, there is fraud. There is fraud. The Democrats are fraudulent. The Republicans are fraudulent as well. The swamp creatures, they are fraudulent as well. But the Democrats have gone above and beyond. The liberals have gone above and beyond. Many times I question myself, how is an AOC winning an election? Now we know. How did Barack Obama win an election, as I've said, 7 years after 9/11? A Muslim, Barack Hussein Obama, with no track record, no history, having done nothing, a one-term senator, becomes president and garners the most votes in the history of the United States presidential election. That's not possible. Fraud. Plain and simple fraud. And it will continue until it's stopped. And the only way to stop it is to fight it. Sidney Powell is going at it, making a great effort and making great headways. And do not underestimate the cities where most of this happened. Major cities, historically ripe with corruption. Philadelphia, ripe with corruption. There's no doubt in my mind at this point. Does that mean I think that the results are going to be Trump winning? I think it's not going to be possible, like I said, because the machine will eat up the opposition, and the machine will stop at nothing, including pulling Jeffrey Epstein on whoever they need to pull. The machine will stop at nothing, and it will continue. And one final thought, thinking is contagious, one final thought, after all this time, and after all these accusations were made against Hunter Biden by the Trump, and they've been deemed as not true. Have you heard about any lawsuits for libel or defamation of character? Have you heard from Hunter Biden in the last month? Have you heard from him? No one has. They're in hiding. Which also indicates to me, hopefully, that money laundering investigation is real and will bring the Bidens to their